everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. I think take a shot out Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. The season is over, but the man that I texted last night, and I would say it's probably good that I didn't share my thoughts in that text, Austin, because it's really hard to talk about this finals and not just feel so gut punched by the Halliburton injury, just because that's every player's, he did everything a player would do. It was like, hey, I'm injured, but it's game 7 of the NBA finals. Of course he wants to play, and he does play. And then you can just see it on the screen. When did it register with you that he most likely tore his Achilles? I think we're still waiting for
first replay. I mean, I've seen too many. I've seen 3 of these, I've now seen 3 of these playoffs. I watched KD's live. I watched the replay of DeMarcus Cousins. I watched J.K. Dobbins do it week 1 because I had him in fantasy a couple years back. So I've seen a lot of Achilles tears. I watched Aaron Rodgers live. So I watched a lot of these live, and I knew it was over. And we'll eventually get to it because I do want to do a video about it. I think as a neutral observer, as someone who has picked, I looked back at my season predictions, Kevin, before the year. My season predictions, and I had the Thunder winning the title. So I was, and I had Shea winning Finals MVP, and then I'm again back in the 2020 Finals. I predicted that the Thunder would have the most championships in the 2020s. So I'm not someone that would be a total Thunder hater, and I think as a neutral observer, that is the most heartbreaking moment I've ever seen live in sports. Like if we're talking immediate, just heartbreak. Because it's different when a player gets hurt in a different moment, like Rodgers. And I've had a lot of players on my own team get hurt. I mean, I was watching when Judge ran into the Dodger bullpen, and that messed up his toe, and when he was out for the rest of the season, basically after that. I mean, that ruined our year. But when it happened, how he knew it happened, I don't like what ifs, but I was having a conversation with a friend. The NBA has the most what ifs out of every sport. When was the last time we'll go conference finals and further in any of the 4 major sports besides basketball that a major injury has happened? First one he pointed out, Brandon Cooks. Good pull. In the Super Bowl against the Eagles, the Patriots lose that game. The Patriots threw for 503 yards in that game. That's not what if to me. It's not if they had Brandon Cooks, they throw for 550 yards. I don't think that wins them the game. You know what I mean? Like it's not like the wide receiver was the reason. Another great pull immediately. Dre Greenlaw against the Chiefs.
I was just thinking Dre Greenlaw.
Great pull. The defense wasn't bad that Super Bowl though. I mean, if you include only regulation, they allowed 24 points, right? Was it 24 or was it 21? It was 21. Because they lost. Because I remember the 49ers scored 24, but that's because in the overtime they scored a field goal first. That's not bad. Like that is not a bad defensive performance. Does that hurt your chances? Sure, but that does not mean the game is over. I've never seen an injury and thought the championship is given to the other team. I mean that is well, I guess I have. It's just not in another sport. Because, like, KD goes down, the Raptors have this. I mean, it's over. I mean, it is over. And then they try to come back, and Clay tears his ACL. Oh, nice! It's now over. Jason Tatum this year, Dame this year. There's just too many injuries in basketball in the playoffs. Just playoff injuries. And I had a friend bring it up. Well, I mean, the Lions faced a lot of injuries last year. They did, and that's the reason why they didn't win. Sure, but so did the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers last year didn't have CMC. I mean, that's worse than not having Aiden Hutchinson. And credit to Aiden Hutchinson, he was the best DN in football for the first until he got hurt, right? He was leading the league in sacks. But Christian McCaffrey is the 49ers offense. So it's just not the same thing. And they also dealt with a plethora of other injuries. Trent Williams, a lot of very big name brand guys. Brandon Ayuk tore his MCL. But I don't see those as like the reason why you lose the World Series or whatever. Like, I was going to go, reason I bring up World Series is because, I mean, before the season, we find out, Garrett Cole tore his ACL. He's cooked. Well, if the Yankees don't win the World Series this year, that's not the reason why we lost it. He's a top 3 pitcher in the AL, 100%. But that's not the reason why you lose it. But it being Game 7, opponent's floor, he means so much to that team and that organization. I don't think I've ever watched a more heartbreaking moment live. Again, the reason why I brought conference finals or more. So since 2015, okay, there was Kyrie's injury where he tore his ACL in the NBA Finals against the Warriors in Game 1. There was in 2017 in the Western Conference Final, Kawhi's foot. He steps on Zaza's foot, destroys his knee ankle situation was not because of Zaza. And they were up 20 in Game 1. I know it's Game 1, but they're up 20 on the road Game 1. And I think it's the KD Warriors. The next year, the KD Warriors also get a break when Chris Paul misses Game 6 and Game 7. 2019, it's the Warriors getting a taste of their own medicine. Clay and KD in the finals. 2020, and I think this is because there is such a long break. There's no major injuries in the 2020 playoffs that I could find that I thought really decided a series. Then you go on to 2021. There wasn't that many. There was injuries like in the playoffs, but it was that affected the conference finals. AKA Kawhi, he was hurt in the round 1, and the Clippers made it to the conference finals. So I include that because if that Clippers team had Kawhi, I think they have a serious chance of beating the Suns that year. But they didn't. They only had Paul George, and you also have the Kyrie and James Harden. Both of them didn't play that entire Nets series against the Bucks. What happens if they play that whole series? Nothing really happened in my mind. In 22, you could say the Nuggets had no one healthy, but that's the first round, and I don't like to pay too much attention to round 1 injuries because who knows if the Warriors would have won. I don't like to have what ifs that are that far away from a championship. But then last year, Hallie was out. He missed. He only played in 2 games of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics, and now Hallie this year, in the most important game of his career. He's been dealing with back injuries a lot. He hurt his wrist earlier in the playoffs. He's now torn his Achilles, and I don't like to make any bad predictions about a player regarding injuries, but this is not the type of injury history you want to see for a star player of this caliber. And let's just say I'm worried because I don't know if he's going to be able to get back to where he's been. That's what really hurts it the most. Is because I think this set back the Pacers at least 15 years. Because the last time they were in the conference finals, we'll say 10 years, at least 10 years. Because the last time they were in the conference finals was 11 years ago. Ignore the Boston series last year because that's the same core. Was in 2014 with Paul George. 13-14 with Paul George, Roy Hibbert, Jeff Teague. Or not Jeff Teague, George Hill. I always get those two mixed up sometimes. But David West. But that's the last time. And Paul George ended up dealing with some injuries. Obviously, he broke his ankle. And we saw that hurt his career a little bit. But then he came back from it, sure. But I'm worried about Halliburton. I'm worried about the Pacers organization. And that's why I really wanted them to win this year. I didn't pick them to win, but I wanted them to win because Thunder are going to get back here. And whether that's just because my belief of they're going to win the most titles in the 2020s or whatever, that being the reason why I think that, or the fact that they're just one of the best teams in the league. the Pacers are not. I don't think the Pacers are going to get another one in the next 5-10 years. I don't see it. I don't see it, and I really do feel like this is a gut punch to everyone who is a Pacers fan, but just an NBA fan. I wanted to watch a good Game 7. Look, there's people who hate the Thunder because of foul baiting or for other reasons, but I wanted to watch good basketball. And were the refs great that game? No. I thought they still should have called more. But the game, the series, the championship was decided. And this hurts both sides. I mean, now everyone's going to talk about the Thunder's first championship as the OKC Thunder because, again, they'd won in Seattle. But as the OKC Thunder, their first title is now bloodied with the fact that Tyrese Halliburton hurt his leg. They were tied when he went down. Obviously, they scored when on the other end to make it 18-16. But when he had the ball in his hands before he got hurt, it was a tie game. He was 3 for 4 from 3, had 9 points. And we don't know if he was going to have a huge game. A lot of my friends thought he was. I think he was. But now the OKC title, whether they want to or not, and I do hate, and I use that, I don't use that lightly. The NBA community at times, especially Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, it is so bad because there's two sides of it, and it's just everyone derailing OKC, saying, oh, how bad they are for winning, but then OKC fans just saying, oh, the Pacers suck, this and that. It's like, it really does hurt because now you can't say definitively that without the Halliburton injury, the Thunder would win. And that discredits the Thunder, and I admit that. And I don't know how to talk about the series other than from that light. I don't see how to look. Congrats to the Thunder. There's a couple people on that team I really like that I'm happy have won a title now or have won a second title now. But this title was always going to be what if for me. And if it happened in game 1, right, I think it's a little bit too much maybe. But, yeah, I mean, still then it's a what if. But it being game 7, it being the biggest – it is supposed to be an anointing moment in basketball. It's supposed to be the NBA's biggest day of the year, game 7 of the NBA Finals. And in the first quarter, the best player on one of the teams gets hurt. It's just – I will forever have endless respect, no matter what Tyrese Halliburton does the rest of his career for playing through it, because I would have played through it. If you told me that it was a 99% chance I get a season or a career-ending or career-altering injury, and a 1% you don't, but it's Game 7 of the World Series, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals, it's the Super Bowl, I'm playing through it. I'm playing through it no matter what, and I respect him for that, and no matter what, I'll be a big fan of Halliburton no matter what happens, no matter what team he goes to or how much success he has in the rest of his career. I'll always be a fan of him because of – I was a fan before, but I think this injury just – it's a testament to what it means to be an athlete, what it means to give it everything you have and to quote-unquote, but not really quote-unquote, die on the court.
Absolutely. To echo what you said, like I was already like, he was just a rising star. And do I think he comes? I think he can still play in the NBA, but it is career altering because it is an Achilles. ACL, you can go like, okay, it can come back, but that's different too because you have Derrick Rose. And
2 injuries in sports, and this is generalization. Ignore like DeMar Hamlin, Christian Eriksen, where something happens with their heart. Ignore like freak injuries. I would call those freak injuries. Non-basketball, non-baseball, non-football, non-whatever injuries. There's 2 injuries in sports that you can come back from, but are genuinely scary. And it's Tommy John for me and the Achilles tear. I think those are the 2 injuries in sports.
Those are great.
That are you can't convince me Garrett Cole's going to come back and be a top 3 pitcher in the AL when he comes back. Because even though he was so dominant every year he's been in New York, that is an injury that it's a poison pill. Whether you survive or not, we'll see. I don't think that you can't tell me definitively that any of those guys who tore their Achilles during the playoffs are going to come back 100%. There's only been 2 guys in NBA history, Dominique Wilkins and Kevin Durant. Klay Thompson's been okay. He's been okay, but he definitely was better before. Like, no doubt he was better before. DeMarcus Cousins was out of the league within 3 years. It's a hard injury to convince me that you're going to come back and be who you were before. And that's why it hurts so much. What else were you going to add?
Well, yeah, and to your point of kind of just like this series, this OKC's first ring is always going to be Halliburton injury, because as we're doing this right now, we're in 15 minutes of just discussing a Halliburton injury, which isn't, to me, bad. It's just the way it happened. Halliburton's career is going to be tied to this game and just how it happened. And yes, OKC deserved to win a championship, and I'm happy for all the fans of them that you got this championship. It's just, historically speaking, Halliburton's career is going to be tied to it and be like, oh my gosh, what could have been? What if?
I have one more thing to add, and then I'm basically done with my pseudo rant, and you can basically carry it out. But most finals of any sport, NCAA basketball, any of the sports that we cover, it feels like a wedding. It feels like a wedding between the trophy and the team that wins it. This feels like a funeral. It feels like we're here in sadness for what has happened and not out of joy. Because even if the Pacers had lost, and I wanted them to win, even when your favorite team loses in the finals, right? And I've had it happen. Yankees last year, the World Series. I'm still. They didn't cheat like the Astros did. No one got hurt on my team. Touche. Let's enjoy baseball at its best. Let's enjoy the sport at its best. Again, it feels like a wedding. That's what the finals feel like to me in every sport. That's why I love it so much. It's because you do everything in your life to get to that point. And here it is. Let's see who wants it more. And again, who's going to give their life for the sport. And unfortunately, again, this feels like a funeral. I can't think positively about this, even though there's definitely positives to take out of it, right? Eventually everything's going to come to an end, but it is hard to look at this and not see negative after negative after negative and think, how are the Pacers ever going to get back to this point? We will never see TJ McConnell or Benedict Mathurin or any of these guys in the moments that they've been in during this playoff run. Maybe they do. Maybe we do. I hope we do. But just the cynicism around the injury, again, it just makes it hard to think positively about it.
Yeah, the funeral analogy is fantastic because it is kind of a funeral of what, and who knows what happens, but just kind of what could happen with Halliburton, what star he becomes in the NBA, even if he does lose. And the positives are, credit to Sam Presti for building this team. You get a trade from Paul George, and that's how you get SGA. He accumulates picks and just hits on those draft picks. And they did stink for a little bit, but it is just a testament to how well built the Thunder are and just how destined how success should be expected given the future picks they have, the players they have. But
well, in one way or another,
yeah.
The Paul George trade for both of them was the reason why they're here. I mean, Paul George is the reason why they got Domantas Sabonis, which is the reason why they got Halliburton.
Yeah.
So it's Paul George has the ties to both of these teams, obviously, not just through playing, but through basically setting up the championship matchup. And I mean, kudos to both of these teams. I really do. It really just sucks. Again, eventually I'll be like, what a championship for the Thunder and what a run, but it's hard. It's hard because I can't, as a small market team like the Pacers are, you don't get these opportunities all that often. Kevin, the Wizards haven't won 50 games in 50 years. 50 games in a season in 50 years. The Pacers, it's the last time they went to a title was in 2000, so it's been 25 years. Made a conference final 10 years ago, before last year. But you can't guarantee it. That's the beauty of sports, but it's also why injuries like this hurt so much, because you never know when you're going to have that opportunity again. And for the Pacers, I don't know when. I can't tell you when. I mean, there's going to be a generation of Pacers fans that this is how they think of basketball.
Yeah, and the NBA is just driven by stars. You kind of saw it with Luka, but Halliburton is, I would say, worse and different because he didn't just leave. Like I would say his career is altered. Just what an Achilles does and just the way he was playing through injury because he wanted to help his team. And it was the NBA Finals. Like, this isn't just round 1, round 2. No, this is the do or die game. And it led to his Achilles injury. And you just got to think of how can they get another guy? Because it's also a unique way they got him. Because they did have Sabonis, but then they traded Sabonis with Sacramento. And that's how you get him. You bring in former coach Rick Carlisle. And it's a unique way. I was listening to people talk about it when they were in this run. And I was telling someone, I was like, it's just you didn't expect him to be in the NBA Finals. And who knows what they could have done if Halliburton is healthy. So as it should, he is the story of the game. Sadly, just of kind of, we don't know what his career is going to be like and how the way it's constructed right now with the Pacers is how do they get back to this? Because Halliburton was such a huge part of it, and you just don't know what he's going to look like because of the explosiveness that is lost with the Achilles. So, yeah, it's just a gut punch, and it's hard to talk about the NBA Finals with the way it happened and Halliburton's injury. So I think we should end it here. That's kind of our finals and should be talked about is, yes, the Thunder were a great team, but this is just a terrible way to have it remembered because Halliburton, we don't know what's going to happen to Halliburton's career.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. And it sucks that we're going to have to wait a whole basically year, 12 months to see him on the court again.
Yeah, so really, I'm hoping for the best. Somehow he comes back, and he's someone I'm probably at the top of my list that I want to get a ring. Just from a neutral perspective of I really want him to get a ring and be a part of it. I just don't want him on the bench. I want him starting, playing big minutes. Maybe he's 6-man on a championship team, but that's really tough. And well, let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.